Hey guys, welcome back. In this one, we are checking out the greatest interceptor slash fighter of the 1960s. The MiG-21 has over 12 variants if you include the J7E and kind of the J8F if you want to get kind of technical. It shares the wing, but anyways. The point is, this is a very common plane that you're going to either see or fly in War Thunder. So it's best to make a video about it just so that everybody knows that this thing is quite the badass. So we are flying right now the MiG-21MF, which is sitting at 10.3 at rank 5 in the German tech tree. And it does have a counterpart in the Russian tech tree, which has, to my understanding, just larger fuel tanks. And if you're changing your fuel in between games, I see how that could be kind of useful, or if you're a sim player, the extra fuel might do you good. But in Air RB, you're probably not going to see that much of a difference between the MF and the SMT. They both have the same gun and the same missile loadouts. And if you want to know more specifically about the R3R, I will have my previous video linked down below, and that's kind of just a walkthrough on how to use the thing. Because I feel like I use that a lot more than the R60s, just because I can kind of surprise enemies with it and catch them in a head-on. And the R3R is just kind of helped along by the fact that most players that you're going to encounter flying the 21MF are not really going to expect a front aspect missile from a MiG-21. That being said, the R60 is a sometimes nice missile to use, although it is very flare happy, and later in the video, I think it's around the 4 or 5 minute mark, you'll see an R60 completely ignore flares like it has IRCCM, but I have no idea how that even happened. Anyways, most of the time R60s are very flare happy and just generally they have a pretty high chance to get flared, or sometimes they can even be outmaneuvered if they're fired too late. But you guys will probably be getting a dedicated video about the R60, and this is the clip that I was talking about. Somehow it just ignores all of the flares and just hits the F4E. Still have no idea how that happened, but it did, and I can't really complain. This is kind of later in that game here, and the R60 did so well here because that F5C didn't flare. He obviously has a very smooth brain. But now we need to talk about the Gauchos 23. It's a pretty accurate cannon, and it doesn't have too big of a spread, although it does kind of shoot like a water cannon 90% of the time. Right here, I just got a crit. That J70 went into a flat spin, but the high explosive rounds weren't really enough to fully take him down on that first pass, even though I got a crit on him, which is kind of unfortunate, and sometimes you are going to run into that. But the Gauchos is kind of just one of those hit and miss cannons that you're going to encounter a lot when you're flying Russian planes, up until like the Gauchos 30, I think. So all the 21s have the Gauchos 23, and I believe the MiG-23s do as well. So I think that the MiG-21 is a pretty good platform to start learning how to use it. Now, Mechanicum and I both use a 600 meter convergence with vertical targeting, and we've found that that usually gives you a slight edge over other people, especially if you're turn fighting, which you can do in the MiG-21. Although it is technically a fighter interceptor, it doesn't really have that much of an issue fulfilling both roles. It's extremely fast, great at accelerating, and then on the other hand, it can pull a pretty crazy amount of Gs. Until you have the G suit unlocked, you are going to kind of be on a little bit of a pain train with it because you'll be blacking out so much. If you're trying to, like I said, be more of a multi-role fighter instead of just an interceptor. But that's something that I really like about the MiG-21 is that if you want to just have a chill experience playing War Thunder, you can climb up, launch some R3Rs into the faces of F4Cs or F5Cs, and then drop back down and launch some R60s at unsuspecting opponents. Or if you want, you can play a little more aggressive, climb up, dive down, get some kills with your water pistol sometimes, and go back to base. So you have the option of fighter or missile bus, which honestly, this does quite well. It's way more maneuverable than all of the Phantoms and faster. But anyways, I wanted to commentate this game because it is the rare occasion that I got a down tier, and this ended up being a 7-kill game. So what you guys saw right there, missed my shot with the R3R, shot an R60 at that J72 and ruined his day, because what can he do about it? He did not have flares, and I'm also guessing that he did not have rockets. And also, I just got back at that 104 because of all of the pain that he has caused me while flying the MiG-17 and MiG-15. Those guys are like a smooth brain epidemic. Now, this F8U, I'm pretty sure that he just ripped his wing off, but still, I'm having a good game, and I'm on a roll with the Gasha, so I sniped him out of the air. And this is one of those rare occasions where I was just being super accurate with the gun and getting quite a lot of hits. So next we're going to move over to this F5. Got a radar lock on him. I'm pretty sure that I launched an R3R a few seconds after this, but the reason that I was able to do that at such a low altitude is I used the wide angle on the seeker head, and I led the missile quite a bit there, so it didn't have to do much turning and pretty much just gets a straight shot. Like you can see here, look how much I'm leading that missile. It doesn't hardly have to turn at all, and it can kind of just predict where it's going to go, and it flies right into the face of an F5C, just like how it was meant to be. So flared off an AIM-9L right there, and we've got two A-10s, and the MF is also kind of an A-10 simulator because it accelerates so fast and has such a good top speed that most of the time you end up just kind of catapulting behind the enemy team before they even get to the battlefield. So right here, gonna dive down on this A-10, get a crit, and also give him a love tap with my wing. Somehow the Stalinium was in my favor and I didn't even get damaged at all. There's also a 104 that's on fire, and those guys can't aim, so he of course misses all of his shots even though I'm extremely vulnerable. I mean, he should have got me right there. Come on. You got a Vulcan. Just spray and pray, man. Anyways, right here, crit the A-10, give him a little love tap afterwards, fly over the hill, and see the second A-10. So, like I said, I'm on a sniper streak with my Gasha, give him a crit, and he's out of there. A-10 hunting is complete. Now this AV-8, another kind of smooth brain guy. This one was not as bad. It seemed like he was using the AV-8 more as it was intended instead of just a smooth-brained, I'm going to go bomb a base and fly right back to my airfield. So right there, went for a head-on, goes for a second head-on, and I just sniped him out of the sky. No idea how I didn't get hit, and yes, I do regret not getting a cinematic of that clip. But that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. So, as always, if you enjoyed watching, make sure you leave a like down below. And if you have any planes that you want to see me fly, leave them in a comment. Otherwise, we will catch you in the next one.